Hey, I'm James Gaddis, media expert, consultant now for hire, and Alaska's top toy photographer. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram. Give me a call, give me a shout. All right, let's get down to business. Joining us today, Bruce Bustamante, President, CEO of the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce. He's here to tell us a little bit about the chamber, the benefits, why you might want to get involved. Bruce, thanks so much.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation.
It's the initial Anchorage Community Connection podcast. You're number one today, the first guest, going to give us a lay of the land as it relates to the Chamber of Commerce. So I think I immediately think of myself, Office Space. Do you recall that movie? The Bobs. They come in, they're consultants, they're doing a little house cleaning, and they ask one of the employees, what would you say you do here? And I think a lot of people have the same question as it relates to the Chamber. What is it that you do here in Anchorage? We've all heard of the Chamber of Commerce, but maybe don't know the ins and outs and what you've been doing for the past 100 years. So that said, Chamber, what's it all about?
Well, that's a very fair question, James.
Okay.
And it's 103 years.
103 now.
That's right, yeah.
Facts are important.
Time's flying.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce is the most diverse business organization in the state. And our organization represents the business interests of small, medium, and large companies, and we do it in a number of ways. Number one, our path is very clear in advocating for business. We don't receive any state funding. We don't receive any other public funding. So we truly can go in and advocate in the best interest, whether it's municipal issues or legislative issues. But if you take it down to, okay, what is it that we do?
Mm-hmm.
We provide service, education, networking opportunities, and advocacy for our business members. And it comes in many different forms. You'll see the programs we have in place, whether it's a Make It Monday forum, a Chamber Academy. But what it is, those are put in place to help businesses succeed. Our mid-sized businesses, our bankers have a very high interest in the Chamber because they want to see businesses succeed as well. So when I came onto the Chamber of Commerce, I have quite an extensive background in tourism. There's a little bit in the back of my mind, what is it exactly? Once you get in and you see what the mission is, it's very clear, it's very straightforward. And one thing I always tell our members, it's kind of like joining an athletic club. Just because you join the club doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. You got to get out there and you got to participate in the programs and take advantage of all the offerings.
But this is a great first step. And when we talk about the connections, and that's what this podcast is all about, making those connections, getting people hooked up business to business, letting people out there, consumers know what Anchorage businesses have to offer. What's the experience been like for you and your businesses? We were going to chat with you and get to learn a little bit more about you, I think, a little bit later in the show, but I think right now might be appropriate. What is your business background, and how has the Chamber specifically helped you?
Okay. Well, I think you can come back to the times, and I guess we'll talk about this later. As far as my business interests, when I came to Anchorage, Alaska, at first I was with Alaska Airlines for 17 years. Then I was 7 years as the president and CEO of the Anchorage Convention and Visitors Bureau, vice president of public affairs for Princess Cruises. And in all of those functions, I saw the Chamber as having a very valuable role to us, whether it was making business-to-business connections or having an audience that would advocate on behalf of our company or our industry's interests. I knew that if I went into the board meeting or I went in front of a legislative committee or if I went to the membership and stated our position, it would be vetted left to right, top to bottom, but I would be looking at an absolute representative cross-section of the business community.
When we talk about this business community, who are some of the major players, the names and faces that you would find at your Make It Monday forum, or just in general, maybe stopping by the Chamber's offices on any given day?
Well, we have a very good representation of our board of directors, but if you want company names, it's ConocoPhillips, BP, very long time big supporter, Alyeska Pipeline, Alaska Airlines. You go to the other side of the spectrum, we have a number of realtors that are involved with the Chamber. One of our newest companies, and I give them a lot of credit, it's the Spice and Tea Exchange. Very small upstart company, but they're at a number of events, talking about their services. They're utilizing the Chamber to show their product. And so you take it, through that spectrum. Also a high level of interest and participation from the banking community. Mm-hmm. Wells Fargo, longtime big sponsor. First National Bank of Alaska, Northrim now is coming in as being a bigger sponsor. So, the financial community certainly has an interest in the Chamber.
In a way, it's at least when the Chamber, when its members are together, it's kind of like a one-stop shop in terms of networking, right? I mean, everyone is there that you might potentially need to talk to help your business grow.
I think that's a very good statement right there. I mean, everyone's awfully broad, but I mean, you're
Right.
looking at every business sector is represented there. And this really does follow the structure of a standard chamber of commerce. If you're a small business, you're looking for that more immediate gratification. Where can I close the sale? Where can I hang my shingle? Who can see my business? Where can I make that most immediate impact? Your mid-sized businesses still have that interest on closing the sale, face-to-face connections, but also they're looking for, well, where can I sponsor an event to make sure my company's out in the forefront, in front of the majority of the membership. Then you have the larger companies. They may have a partial interest in those too, but they're looking also for where can they show that they're good community leaders and making a good investment in the community. And you'll see them being prominent with our Make It Monday forums. We have a quarterly sponsorship for that. Military appreciation, citywide cleanup. They look for those city contribution, city leadership type of opportunities, and we provide that. They're already structured.
We're going to talk about some of those services that the Chamber provides, like Make It Monday, a little bit later on in the podcast. I found this one stat pretty amazing. So you talk about some of the reasons to join the Anchorage Chamber: connections, information, knowledge, status, visibility. According to the Chamber, 63% of consumers are more likely to buy from a Chamber member. Where to go? Okay. Be sure to download, and you can get an Anchorage Chamber member cyber plaque to display on your website. How important has the Chamber logo, that a business is associated with it, that they might have it up in their shop or they have it up on their website? How important has that logo become to local businesses?
I think it's held a pretty high level of importance with businesses throughout the history of the organization, and it's almost like a Better Business Bureau. It's a validation. I'm part of a bigger organization. I contribute to the community. I'm here to work with you as fellow chamber members. So it has tremendous value, and that's why we have to be very protective about the brand of the chamber. We can't cheapen it. We want to make sure that when people become a chamber member, they'll view it as a very high standard.
Okay, we're also going to touch on the memberships. There are lots of different tiers, I believe. So we'll touch on the ones that might be best for you, the benefits behind them, a little bit of what the Chamber offers on a weekly basis, some of the forums, the information, the knowledge that you can gain by being a member. There's really so much more to the Chamber, as we mentioned, I think, than people realize. So we'll touch on all of that and some of the advocacy you can do with other Chamber members for businesses like yourself and causes that are most important to you. So I think right now might be a good time to take our first break.
Sure.
Hear from some of our fantastic, amazing sponsors, and then we'll get back to business in just a second.
Hey, my name is Don, and I'm a videographer, photographer, or in general, the Asian guy with the camera. If you need someone for weddings, events, portraits, commercials, podcasts, Instagram, social media, music videos, and everything in between, then shoot me an email at don@donjohnphoto.com. Bye.
All right, and we're back. Anchorage Community Connection, talking with Anchorage Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Bruce Bustamante today about the benefits of being a member of the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce, a little bit about what they do, the services that they offer to their members, and that's where we're going to kick things off right now, is talking about those services. You've got your Make It Monday forums, your Business Development Academy. You do a lot of education to help businesses that maybe they think they already have it down, or they're just starting. Just starting is what I'm trying to say. So if we could, I think one of the most noticeable things that the Chamber does, gets a decent amount of media coverage here and there, would be the Make It Monday forums. What are those exactly?
Well, that's a piece of, I'll call it, program real estate that we seem to own in Anchorage. I mean, we're the only ones that offer a weekly business forum. And it is, as you mentioned, the Make It Monday forum. But what we do is we more or less have a pulse in the community on what's topical, what's important. Also, we have a process for speakers that want to address our membership. And so that's what we use the Make It Monday forum. It's noon to 1 o'clock. We try to keep it on time to not, eat up too much of a person's day, but they come in and it's a chance for just a quick update on what's happening with the Chamber that they need to be involved with, but also something topical, usually a 20 to 30 minute presentation, and it could be a presentation of the city budget, the school district budget. It could be an update on the oil industry. an update on the telecommunications industry. It's what is topical and beneficial to the business community.
Information is key,
It
so your
very
business
much
can
is.
make the right decisions. And on top of it, if I did my research correctly, if you are a new business, not necessarily a new business, but if you are new to the chamber, you get the opportunity to get up at one of these Make It Monday forums, kind of introduce yourself, and you have the entire audience to yourself.
Absolutely, and I was just talking to a new business about that today, and actually it's open for existing businesses. We really value our longtime supporters and members. So if a company says, hey, I've got this new rollout of a banking program or a program that benefits ground transportation, I said, okay, well, you want to do 5 minutes in front of our Make It Monday crowd, and we try to piece them in, and we could probably do as many as 2 and not take away from the main presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as you've mentioned earlier, information is key, and a lot of these programs that we have in place, like the Make It Monday forum, it is about information, and it's still about networking.
Right.
too.
You get that podium in front of all those people, those names, those players, and oftentimes, as I mentioned, in front of the media. I know they love showing up on Monday.
They do.
Monday is a great day to hold it because Mondays can often be slow in my career, I've noticed. So yeah, it's a good time to do it. Let's talk about there's a young professionals group. So the young people are our future. I mean, they really are, and we need their ideas and we need them to be business savvy. So what do you offer some young 20-something who's looking to start their brand new business? They're right out of college and they need a little bit of help.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a pretty big. The young professionals group is actually a relatively large sector of the business community. It's, we put an age range on it because I guess we have to protect ourselves as far as being young, but it's 19 to 39.
Okay.
And but when you look at the makeup of our young professionals group, and these are chief financial officers, directors, managing directors. These are accomplished professionals as well that have kind of worked their way up, have stayed engaged with the young professionals group. So what we're seeing now is that a lot of these young professionals within that age group are now members of our board of directors that help govern the organization. So this is an initiative that I've been very passionate about, is that is a fair representation of our economy. It's that your age, 30s-ish type people, and so we want to make sure they're engaged and they're getting value, and for us, they're representing the chamber, because then they're representing our organization within our community. So there's a lot of work yet to be done, but when I look back on my career, many years ago when I was in my 30s, there was a professional or someone that I worked with on a board of directors that opened a door. And so what we've all agreed to, we want to open those doors, but now what we're seeing is that group is fully prepared on integrating into the organization. We hold seats open on our finance committee, executive committee, military, legislative, municipal committees. We mandate seats. We want our young professional groups to have those seats and bring their people in.
That's typically who we're probably talking to today. So we're talking to you. That is a good thing. We're talking to me too. Let it be known, I'd still be considered a young professional by about 2 months, and I think somewhere along the lines of 5 days. I'll be 40 on March 9th. Send presents too. All right, off topic. We've got Make It Monday. We've got the Young Professionals Group. There's the Business Development Academy.
Actually, it's called the Chamber Academy.
The Chamber Academy.
And what we'll do is, just like I believe our last one was conducted by a local attorney who's a member of the chamber in talking about business law and relevant issues to small business. So we have that. We have other types of technical-based content for those academies. Cybersecurity is always topical. So that is one that we're constantly looking for. What's the right content? And we get a lot of recommendations from our members as well. I might also add, before we get too far off course with the Young Professionals Group, within that Young Professionals Group structure, they have their own networking after hours, networking luncheons, CEO brief luncheons, where in the past we've had people like Gloria O'Neill with Cook Inlet Tribal and Sophie Minnick from Cook Inlet Regional host the Young Professionals Group at their location and just talk to them about professional development and about their business.
Pretty cool. Connections. You're constantly
Absolutely.
connecting people regardless of the age. Now, one of the big things that the Chamber does that I think we really need to touch on, a lot of times the words, committees can already, I think some people just don't fall asleep. Listen, this is important stuff, is the advocacy. So I run a business, but there are certain things going on in Washington or in Juneau and there are certain policies that I want to see change, or that I need some help trying to change. Mm-hmm. You have this network, you have these connections, and you have these committees, and that is what they do. So you'll have a voice, you'll have someone to go to, and you'll have support to maybe make some change. Let's touch on those. There's a legislative committee, a business development committee, a military, municipal affairs. Mm-hmm. So you have the power, the strength in numbers to reach out to a lot of people and make change happen.
We have the ability of making our voice heard.
Mm-hmm.
We hope we can
and
make
then
things,
making the change.
Yeah,
right.
We can encourage them to make changes.
Uh-huh.
When we talk about advocacy, we really have that narrowed down to our municipal committee, municipal activities committee, and our legislative committee. Legislative being state issues, mm-hmm. municipal, self-explanatory, being municipal issues. And they're keeping an eye on the horizon. What is it that's relevant? But also, probably 80% of the time, it's a member or an industry coming to us saying, there's this pre-filed bill. It could be damaging to future development in the oil industry. We really want to get the support of the chamber. We'll say, okay, come in, make your presentation to our legislative committee. We take it upon ourselves to find the counter position, because we feel it's best if these issues are fully vetted. Then the committee will say, yeah, we think we need to support this group. We'll take it to our board of directors, get the support. Either I'll testify or a board member may testify. We'll have letters of support or opposition depending on the position. The whole resolution thing, I think, is a little heavy and cumbersome, but we can do that mm-hmm. too. But it seems like we're a little bit more nimble and timely if we can go that route and get the word out. So, and there was we had questions about the Chugach ML&P transaction, which the city came in and made a very informative presentation, as did Chugach Electric. We were against Stand for Salmon. We saw that as being damaging to the business community, especially in resource development. But we did hear both sides and came out with our position, was very active in that area. So we are the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. And so we really do look out for the best interests of business.
All right. So there are some benefits for you right there. We're gonna touch on after this next break. We're gonna touch on the memberships. Actually, mm-hmm. you actually getting involved, or maybe you already are. Maybe you're thinking of maybe moving on up or something along mm-hmm. those lines. Sure. We'll tell you which memberships might be best for your business, depending on its size, depending on what you're looking for, and the benefit of getting on the podcast too. This is this is going to be big, folks. It's going to be big. So when we come back, we'll touch on those memberships to give you a better idea of how it all works.
We are Upper One Studios, Alaska's premier content creation and production company since 2007. We provide services such as video production, web development, and graphic design. No matter the size of your business, Upper One Studios has the team, the experience, and the equipment to fulfill your company's marketing needs at a cost that won't break the bank. Thinking of getting internal training videos for your staff? Maybe some new business cards or banners? Or maybe you need a new website? No matter the job, Upper One Studios will be there to get it done.
Anchorage Community Connection. This is the very first Anchorage Community Connection podcast. I am your host, James Gaddis, with President and CEO of the Anchorage Chamber, Bruce Bustamante. We've been talking about what the Chamber does around here, some of the benefits, the programs, the services that are offered up if you become a member, and that leads us into those memberships. If you are not a member yet, we're going to touch on some of the different tiers and which one might be best for you. So thinking we start small, right? I just started a business. I'm kind of pinching pennies right now. I'm afraid to spend too much. What's the benefit for me to join the chamber right now and spend some of that money that I'm kind of really holding on to until maybe I get some more sales under my pocket?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the big decision a lot of businesses have to make. If they want to grow their business, if they want to make sales, you've got to invest. And the chamber provides so many affordable opportunities. If you look at really our lowest entry-level membership, it's $450. And with that, you get an entree to all of the events, all of the programs that we have available at a member level. You get communications. We have a very thorough e-news that goes out every week, talking about different opportunities. You can post special offers on our website as part of the membership. So, starting at the very bottom, that's a pretty reasonable membership. But what we see is that once people are in, they're looking at the other tiers. Mm-hmm. What do I get at 1,000? Well, what do I get at 2,500? Now, then we see them going up to 5,000, and then we have some members at 10,000. And with that, so I won't go through all of the specifics of every tier, but as you progress up, you start getting what we call added value opportunities. You'll get tickets to Make It Monday forums. You'll get comp registrations to a Young Professionals Summit. You'll get as you think it's to the it's the $5,000 level, you have $1,000 credit to apply to any type of sponsorship you want, whether it's the Gold Pan Awards, whether it's citywide cleanup, what have you. So it's, as companies come in, I really encourage them to look at what they want to accomplish. And for us, there's tremendous benefit in having, if your company became a member, all of a sudden you've got, a handful of tickets on your desk going to Make It Monday for them, you'll probably go.
Yeah.
And then you're going to come back and say, that was really good. We should maybe do a little bit more. Pretty soon you're hanging your James Gaddis banner behind the podium, and you're a quarterly sponsor.
Yeah, you need to spend some money to make some money, and you're saying this is an investment worth making, even if you're just getting started.
Absolutely. I think it has tremendous value. If you're just getting started, you want to maintain your presence as far as your sales, your position in the community, opportunities. You're looking to hire people. It's a good network to get in front of. So, and we also have a discount in place for our nonprofit organizations. And in the economy that we have today, where there's a lot of caution, you're talking about companies holding back, hanging on to their money.
Yeah.
The nonprofit world really gets squeezed down, and so I work hard to try to keep our nonprofits engaged, because what a tremendous opportunity that you would lose by not being a member and not having access to 900 businesses and other organizations.
Right. So let's just say you're listening and you've been doing business for a while here in Alaska, here in Anchorage, and you're thinking, I've got this down, I know what I'm doing, things are good. What would you say to them to get them to even maybe just head online, head to the website and check it out? What would be the benefit for them?
I think you can always look at doing more, and if they're absolutely satisfied with where they're at, there are still ways to show support for the community itself. Something tells me Anchorage has been pretty good to you. Mm-hmm. If you're in that mindset, look at ways to get back. Maybe you want to bring a team of employees out and participate in military appreciation. You want to say thank you to that group. You want to come out and participate in the military appreciation picnic. Bring a team of folks out and help cook and prepare. Every year we serve over 4,000 military members and their families in a one-day picnic. It's your chance as a business leader to say thank you. We provide those types of opportunities as well. And as we're seeing with our economy, you just never know. We're so heavily dependent on resource extraction. All of a sudden, commodity prices drop. It seems to affect everyone. So it's always good to be in a good position to grow. And I think being a member of the chamber provides that. And I'll also expand on this. I know you don't want me to expand, but
do it. It is your time.
No matter what company I've worked with and in what city I've worked in, we always made a point to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. That's how strong the brand is for the chamber. If you're a business opening in Anchorage or a business coming to Anchorage, you should be looking at, I probably need to get involved with the chamber, because there I'll meet the banking community, the oil community, small business, mid-sized business. They're all going to be right there.
Yeah. It's all about making those Anchorage community connections. It really is. It sounds cheesy, but there's a reason that is what this
podcast is called, and that's essentially what the chamber does. And I think about folks, I don't want to say we have a transient community, but we have a lot of new people often coming in, some leaving, but the ones that are coming in, and there's so much opportunity here for entrepreneurs to be able to do what they want and get things started. And I see it happen every day. There's no better place, I think, to make those connections. I mean, where else do you, if you're new in town and you don't know anyone, how you can do it if you hustle. but it can be difficult. So I think having that network of people, having those connections, would be a great way to go. What do you tell people who they spend the money? How do you guarantee that they're going to get the best bang for their buck, or is it really on them to take advantage of what the chamber has? Because some might say, I spent all this money and I didn't see any increase in sales. What do you say?
Well, I think you've called out a weakness of the Anchorage Chamber that we have experienced probably in the last 5 or 6 years. We're turning that now. We've seen some models with other cities where they come in and they get a member to sign up. They go, okay, here's what we recommend you do the first 30 days. Here's what we recommend you do the first 60, 90. We're going to come back after 180 days and see how you feel about your chamber membership. And we think that is the step and the action to take to help turn that. Because you're right. I mean, you can sell a membership, and if people don't have time to participate, then pretty soon a year rolls around. They go, well, gosh, I never went to an event. I probably should cut it. Where they missed a lot of great opportunities. And when you talk about connections, the chamber provides that ability to make first and second level connections. You meet a person that's going to help you out that's directly involved with the chamber. They're going to introduce you to 3 or 4 other people that'll help you as well. So that whole network chain really starts.
And you give them that proof of purchase after a while.
Absolutely.
All right. So are there any other, I'm just trying to, because I think we've touched on basically, we didn't touch on all the membership options. You probably want to go online and go to the Chamber's website, and it's all spelled out there. I wouldn't expect either one of us to have it memorized.
Okay,
we would bore you to sleep. So, but I think we've touched on all of it. Are there any other memberships or membership tiers that you really think you want to put out there, or that might be of interest to someone, or have we covered it?
Well, I think we covered it, but I would approach it in probably larger chunks. We came in at the bottom level, talked about the $450, then I took you up to $10,000.
Right.
You come in at that $750 to $2,500 level, you're going to get a lot. Well, I would say more of the $1,000 to $2,500 level. You're going to get a lot more added value in your membership. And when we established the tier levels, I mean, there's a point where it's they're getting more value than what they're paying for, and so we worked on that. But you get up, and that happens at about that $1,000 to $2,500 range. So
there's a sweet spot.
It's good for business. Yeah,
there's a sweet spot.
It is, and it's like, well, if you're going to spend $450 for a little bit more, here's what you get. And if there are people going, well, I don't know, well, try us out at $450 and see how you like it.
You can always go up from there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, now you know. So I think, apparently, again, this is the first one, so we're just rolling with things as we go. I think we have a break here, and we're going to come back one last time, and we're going to kind of give you all of the addresses and places and handles and
names of all the places you can go to find the Anchorage Chamber
online. That is what I'm trying to say. I'm a little off my game. It's been a few months.
You've got a good game, because I'd say you're right on it.
I'm right there. All right. I'm
really
a little on the rusty side, but yeah. Hey, I'm James Gaddis. This is Bruce Bustamante. We'll be right back.
James Gaddis Media Strategies, helping your business or nonprofit tell its story. If a full-fledged PR firm isn't in the budget, I can help. For nearly 20 years, I've pitched and told countless stories on television. Most recently as Alaska's trusted news anchor in the morning. I know what the local stations and papers are looking for, the kinds of stories they want to run. Together, we'll find them. And if the press doesn't like our pitch, I'll create that story for you. I also do photography, voiceover, and on-camera work if you need. To learn more, give me a call, 891-3070.
This is the Anchorage Community Connection Podcast, a product of the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce. President and CEO Bruce Bustamante is here for our inaugural first ever podcast. So is Zach Sisson, who more or less the genius, the man behind this whole thing. You put the whole thing together.
Well, thank you. That's very exciting.
Yeah, he's also the numbers guy. And
but that's exciting too.
Yeah, someone's got to be the numbers guy. And you've been doing the digging, or a quick Google search. I don't know which one it was, but we're gonna talk a little bit more, obviously, about the chamber. But you wanted to get into some stats that you think are really important to share.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, thank you again for piloting this amazing soon-to-be podcast, viewed 10 million times. That's the most popular stuff.
At the very least.
Right, at least 10 million. Okay.
Wow.
So some of the fun numbers that I like to run through are obviously your experience, and you'd filled out something before the show, so this is where I get these numbers from. So, 26 years. What does that mean to you?
26 years. That's how long I've lived in Alaska.
26 years.
Yeah.
And in that time, I guess you've been in every industry from strawberry fields as a young kid. Right?
Well,
No.
that's before my time in Alaska. But no, since coming to Anchorage, I was actually transferred here by Alaska Airlines as their regional sales director.
Gotcha.
And so that was in '92. And then I did about 8 years of that stint. And then I pursued the position of president and CEO of the Anchorage Convention and Visitors Bureau. And one of our crowning achievements there, well, number one, I worked with a great team, had a great board of directors, great team to work with. But we were able to pass the ballot initiative to build the new convention center. So the Denina Center occurred during my time there. And then I was recruited to go to Princess Cruises as their VP of Community and Public Affairs. And did that for about 8 years before coming to the Chamber. And the strawberry fields piece.
Yes.
You want me to? I can talk a little bit
Tell
about
us more
Elaborate.
about the strawberry fields.
Well, you asked the question of what's a fun fact, and this one always seems to surprise people, whether it's fun or not. But just how one of my first jobs, and my father was he was a labor foreman, and so he brought migrant farm workers to farmers in the Willamette Valley, and I'm half Mexican, but that's my ethnicity. And so at 6 years old, that was my first job. I'd go to work with him in the fields, and it's did that until I could work by the hour. But I learned an awful lot. My dad was a great leader of people, and I think before it became topical to say you got to practice the golden rule. I learned it from him.
Wow.
Never ask people to do something you wouldn't do yourself.
That is a fantastic approach too. And sometimes we look at young entrepreneurs and they come into the sector and we say, do they have what maybe our seniors, our elders, the ones we respect, what did they have that we didn't have? And why is it easier to get in some of the business industries that it is today than it might have been earlier? And so the 3 channels, talk to me about the 3 channels that were part of Anchorage Chamber.
Okay, and you're talking about the three channels that we really build our plan around, and that's providing business education, providing connectivity and networking, and also advocacy. And those are 3 areas that I think you'll find very consistent with a number of chambers. But for us, the business education comes in many forms: Chamber Academy, YPG CEO luncheons, our CEO briefings, which are relatively new. I give our outgoing board chair, Andy McLeod and Jim Koska, a lot of credit in coming in with that program. And really what that is we invite CEOs to give an industry briefing in a very casual environment to a relatively small audience of 50 to 100 people. And we've had tremendous presentations from Joe Marushak of ConocoPhillips, Julie Taylor, active board member. She is fantastic with Alaska Regional. Also, we had Anand Vidapalli of ACS, and then we had a presentation by President Jim Johnson and the new Chancellor at UAA, Kathy Sundin.
So if I were to, spell those words together, I've got an ace in my pocket, so to speak. And I guess that's what I would bring back to, bring this together as an Anchorage Chamber. I mean, you really do have some very forward-thinking people that might come and be involved in all these committees and represent Anchorage. It's beyond maybe the business title, beyond the branding, but having an Anchorage behind it. And not Anchorage, Kentucky, by the way, if you're listening there. We're talking about Anchorage, Alaska. That place next to Hawaii on the map. Mm-hmm. That place. Relatively close, yes, but colder, interestingly enough. Okay, and I think the other piece of this is that if you were to increase our membership over the next year, what number would that be for you?
Well, right now we're holding at about 900 members, and we would like to, I think our organization has the capacity to truly service and bring value to nearly 1,000 members. I mean, each member brings an additional amount of work, and we welcome that. Our goals, though, for this year, likely we're going to try to add about 30. I'd say 30 new members. That's a pretty good year. We have a really great staff to work with. I mean, even when I'm on vacation, I miss working with them, and they're very focused on our goals, and in the form of new members, retaining our existing members, and also building attendance at our events. So the magic number, let's say it's 30 for now.
Okay.
And
very good.
And we want to keep our total membership over 900 and eventually getting to 1,000.
That's good. And if you were to look at some of the Facebook likes, I'm just looking under 5,000 right now. Quarter of that being YPG. So shout out to you guys, fantastic. But there is a very big popular piece or segment to even just going on social media. We have a good presence, right? And so associating that good support and background. And how many businesses do we have in Anchorage that almost overflex, or the actual Alaska Chamber? And I know they came back to one of our committees and they even said, hey, Anchorage, you are bigger than just our state chamber. So how important is that impactful to maybe a new business coming on board in our community today?
Well, when you look at the Alaska Chamber, and I work very closely with Curtis there, who's their president and CEO, and their biggest investment for their members is really in the area of advocacy. You can imagine the interests that are covered statewide. There is no way one chamber could handle all of the small, medium-sized, and large business interests from every community. That's why community chambers are very important. For us, we just have a bigger population base to draw from. We talked about the 3 channels. We're more than just advocacy. Are there areas where we overlap? Well, there are a lot of dual members, but they look for something a little different. I don't think they come to the Anchorage Chamber going, well, I don't need the state chamber. If you need them both, you're gonna invest in both.
That's very true. I like it. And if I was interested, I'm out of state, I'm coming from Anchorage, Kentucky to Anchorage, Alaska, where would I go?
To do what?
The website.
Oh, the website. Well, yes. You would,
Moose's Tooth first.
I was going to say go to the Wildlife
It's number
Conservation
one.
Center. Yeah, go to Moose's Tooth. Go to other member businesses that you'll find on the Anchorage Chamber website.
Okay.
AnchorageChamber.org. And we're going through a rebuild of our site right now.
That's fantastic.
We viewed it as, again, I think it was the weak underbelly of our organization, in that we needed to have a more appealing online presence. And so we've made the investment. The website is up now. There's going to be a lot more content, imaging, easier navigation for it. So it's something we've invested in. But yep, that's where you go to get all of the up-to-date information, upcoming events, and event calendar.
That's fantastic. And Bruce, what's your email address?
My email address is really difficult. No.
Oh, no.
Bruce@AnchorageChamber.org.
Fantastic.
Okay.
And again, thanks for coming on this show. It was really cool. I'm going to bring it back to James Gaddis for a bit of official cleanup talk.
Is this it?
Actually,
Is
that's
this
bad.
we're gonna end? I guess it's my turn to wrap it up. Dude, we just mentioned, go check him out on Facebook. Has Chamber, are we doing the Instagram thing yet?
Chamber
Yes.
Instagram?
Yes.
Yes.
On the
So
Instagram, Facebook on the Instagram. You can find me there as well. And as it relates to this podcast, this is the initial podcast where we kind of want to introduce you to the chamber, help you get to understand what they do, who they are. From here on out, you are going to hear from, as we mentioned at the very beginning, you're going to hear from individual businesses and nonprofits, so you can get a better idea of what's going on in your own community, right here, maybe right around the corner, your favorite shop, your favorite business, what they do, the secret to their success, what they can offer you that can make your life easier. That's pretty much why we're all in business, is to make other people's lives more enjoyable or easier, as we like to say in the news. What is the viewer benefit of this story? So, what is your business's benefit to me? How will it make my life easier? We're going to get into that, and why you, maybe as a business owner, might want to connect with that business. And of course, it's something that you'll get to do one-on-one, or by joining the chamber, you'll have that opportunity.
Something I'd like to add, and I know we had talked about this earlier, as far as if you're a new business, what can you expect from the chamber? Another really new program, at least over about the last 18 months, it's accelerated in popularity, are the ribbon cuttings. If there's a new business coming, we'll do a ribbon cutting, invite the media to come out, we invite our members to come out, and that's been extremely popular. Now we're seeing existing members, whether they're adding a wing to their hospital or what have you, want to have these ribbon cuttings as well. And also, I need to correct myself.
Okay. It's our first correction.
Yeah.
Do we have a correction sound effect? We will edit. We'll edit that in.
Your red
I
pen.
get it.
When you asked me, Zach, about how many new members we look to gain, when I said 30, I was looking at the net number, because with a membership, especially one of our size, a very successful chamber would have like 85% retention. So we're looking at moving that retention up, bringing in our new members. So if we get a net gain of 30, that's going to be good. If I look at what's our gross gain, we got to shoot for 100 or higher to get that. So
Okay.
Sounds good.
And it's back to the ribbon cut. Do you bring the big scissors, or do we need to provide the big scissors? Because my immediate image is the big scissors.
And the big scissors will not disappoint. They're like two machetes bolted together. They are. I mean, you have to sign a waiver to use these things. I mean,
with the big fat ribbon
fire
too.
department.
Though. It's
big
all
fat
big.
ribbon and the big heavy metal razor sharp scissors. And I'm not kidding.
Okay.
Razor sharp
The
scissors.
fire department delivers them.
That's how we should, with a disclaimer.
All
That's
right.
hilarious.
Well, you consider we just cut the ribbon, I think, on this podcast, which you can get in on as well, whether you might be a chamber member or not.
right.
It is open and it is available. Should they contact you directly, Zach, if they're interested? Once this gets off the ground, they're going to want it.
Anchoragemchamber.org.
Anchoragechamber.org. That's where you go.
Okay, we should, and there are, if you do the pod, there are benefits to being a member and doing the podcast.
Absolutely. Hint, hint.
It's a little less of that. So I think
So
that.
where do we find this podcast? On
Yes.
iTunes, Spotify. We'll do video casts on YouTube, and we partner with our businesses to help them also put it on their page.
Okay.
So
Again,
fun stuff.
Anchorage Community Connection. Like it, share it, let your friends know. Let's make this a thing that you listen to when you're doing whatever it is you do. When you like to listen to your podcast, I typically do it when I'm doing the yard work, not of late. No, you know what? When I'm shoveling snow, I think is when I'll probably re-listen. I don't like to listen to myself, so I may not listen to any one of these ever. But we're hoping it provides a great service to the community, much like the chamber does. So we want to thank you so much for listening. This is just the first of many. I'm James Gaddis. That's Zach Sisson. And right there, Bruce Bustamante, CEO, President of the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. This is Anchorage Community Connection.